Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's October 30th. This will be our chart listing for the day. And real quickly, we'll take a look at our daily chart, and you can see we're still just moving sideways. We opened higher, traded higher, and then turned back down. We never made a new low compared to yesterday. We did close lower, but we closed off the lows. So as of now, I would say we're still bouncing off this middle line on the envelope bands. That is a 21 EMA. So we're still bouncing off the 21 EMA, and that's where it stands as of now. So, but mostly a down day today, and we definitely closed much lower. So let's flip over to our 2000 tick chart, and we'll take a look at that chart and go through the trades, and we'll wrap the day up. But let's flip over. Okay, here's a look at our chart. You can see that we started off trending down. So when we opened at 8:30 and then continued lower, we had a big gap on the chart, and we turned and we filled that really quickly for the most part. The gap is between this yellow line and here, and we filled that pretty quickly. Actually went a little higher a couple of times, then sold off, and we sold off the rest of the day. And for the most part, we had two measured legs down here. We didn't quite make the measured leg, but that's close enough to call that two measured legs for me. And nothing's ever perfect in trading. Close is close enough, and that's the way I see it. We did have a news item this morning, a high volatility. We had two of them at 7:15 to 7:30, and so I've got that blued out right here. That's the area, so no trading in there. So you really had to sit tight, and you really didn't have a trade till after 8:30 open this morning. So these other news items are medium here, and this stuff that's red and green is for tomorrow. It tends to show you anything within 24 hours, but usually this stuff for tomorrow, when a bar completes, it'll drop off and it'll just give you today's stuff. And when it's in black, it means it's already occurred. I changed some of the colors because it was real confusing. Orange almost looked like red, and orange was what it was originally showing after it occurred. I like knowing for sure it's done and over, and so I mark it. I have it where it turns black when it's no good. If it's high volatility, it's red. If it's medium, it's green. I don't know what that was. Something popped up there. Nothing I did. This new computer's still loading things in the background and stuff, so it could be something that loaded in the background. But anyway, yeah, all of this is in the black has occurred and was today, and everything green and red and green is for tomorrow, and the market will open a little bit at 5 here, and I'm not sure if this stuff will drop off or if any of it will drop off, but generally this lower stuff, when you first load it, sometimes it'll show tomorrow's stuff, but generally within a few minutes that portion will drop off, and I think it's when the next bar completes, because it's all set to recheck on a completed bar. But anyway, there it is. It's mostly, I mean, we had a pretty good up move there when it was going. It looked like it was going to be a pretty strong rally, actually, and it just, once we got back up to these highs again, it just turned down. And this is that range on the daily chart. This whole area here is a range on the daily chart. So, and we continue to trade inside that portion of the chart. But let's zoom in here, and we'll go through the trades. Get in here close enough where you guys can see it. I don't want to make it too big, but I want to make it big enough where you can see it. But anyway, we're in this downtrend, and we bounce here, and you get a first entry, and you also get a close outside and a new high here in one bar. When it drops below those 2 bar matching lows, that's a second entry short. I like entering there. It's also a failed break out of this channel, so you're trading a couple of different ways there. And but this is your main key entry point, so a good setup there. You want to take it, and if you catch this, it's probably all you need today. I mean, there's a nice move down there, And assuming you wrote it down till you got the first bullish bar that got a break above it, it's going to be right here. And that would give you 90% of the move, 95% of the move, and almost 19 points. So really nice move, and especially if you get a runner. So in a downtrend like this, I would be going for a runner. Um, Sometimes you reconsider when you're in a tight range, but since the big picture was down and this is off the key entry point, I'm going to try to hold a runner on that. We get a little overshoot down here. As you can see, we were bouncing off this line fairly the first couple of times. So to me, and we bounced off of it there too. So this looks like an overshoot to me. So we might get a reversal. This is a going long here is very low probability. Most of you shouldn't try to pick tops or bottoms. That's why most traders lose. But once you get experienced enough at reading this chart, maybe you attempt to go long here on this high or low, just thinking, hey, it's probably going to at least go back to the EMA, probably back to the original trend line at a minimum. But we got this overshoot, so we could get a reversal. You don't know what's going to happen. You just know we're probably going to bounce here and go back to the trend line, at least the EMA. And generally, if you're going to get at least a measured break on the other side. It looks like we tried that. See how it moved about the same distance and it tried to turn down, but it ends up going up instead. So we just got a true reversal. So I like going long there just to see what you can get out of it. And once again, if you catch this and you just ride it to the first negative bar, bearish bar that gets a break, I mean, that's going to be right there. And again, that's 19 points on just a single runner would that adds up. If you can get both of those, you probably hit your target for multiple days. Doesn't mean you can't come in tomorrow and do it again and hit your target again, but if you want to take off, whatever you want to do, you got a chance to make $3,000 or $4,000 there on trading singles. So that's what you want to try to do. But we do reverse. We get this channel up. You could have looked at this as a spiking channel or just a two-tiered channel or both like I drew it. Either one works out exactly the same. You get the break basically, and it comes a little earlier here, but it comes in the same place on the cyan channel. And then you get your move to a new high all in the same place, and then it reverses. And all we end up doing is getting a two-legged correction, which sometimes is the center of the pattern. So once we start this new channel, draw it and hope that maybe we get another big move up. Doesn't end up happening, but that's what you got to be ready for that just in case it does. So, but no trades anywhere in here except for down here, and this is aggressive. You need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, I don't see any. But this is a very strong move up. And so any signal bar that comes back to the trend line, a break above it, you might want to take it. And that would give you a few more entries in here. Probably that one. Probably that one. There's one. And I show this all the time, pretty much any time. That was it. I don't see another signal bar. This is the signal bar here. It's too bearish. And then by that time we got to close outside. Same thing on the cyan color one. So no others. But those are clearly signal bars off the key entry point that qualify. And so maybe you take those. Other than that, no entries up to here. And then we're just working sideways. The first trade I see here that we get a setup is this one. It does go a little higher, but it easily it opens inside the range and closes inside the range. It leaves a little stem. What I like was it broke and went higher and then turned down. That's got enough body. Maybe you trade that on the engulfing bar. If you wait till here, I don't know if you got enough room. I think you have to trade that on the engulfing bar, because here you've only got 3 ticks and it actually goes See, it would have been a failure. So you can't, you're just too close to the lows that way. You have to trade it on the engulfing bar, and that gives you enough room to get out. And I think you get out with a tick or two to spare there. So looks like maybe we'll get a setup here. It never triggers. And then we drop lower. And there is a triple test here. I did not mark this because we got a break, but we didn't get a new low. But there's still a triple test there, as you can see. But we've already been back to the EMA with 2 legs up. But it's still a triple test because that makes a 2-bar matching low. You can use either one of them. So maybe you take that trade. Problem is that's your first close outside and you don't have a new low. And you see it does end up making that new low. You end up getting two corrective legs here, and they're pretty close to a measured move. You can see that. 2 measured legs. But anyway, I treated this as a retest, but you could draw your trend line here if you wanted to. And I like this one just because technically by the counts, I would start your count over here, and you're really just playing the triple test right there, in my opinion, and the big bearish bar. It's not a second entry or anything, but I like going short there just because you came back and tested it once and turned down, then came back and tested it again and turned down, and then came back and tested it again the 3rd time and then turned back down. You have to wait till this closes. You can't trade it on the engulfing bar. So I still like this one. There was enough room there. This runs down, makes a new low, and reverses. And you get a reversal pattern here. You know, there's some support across here. Is this where you know, if it's going to be a range, this is where you might expect a reversal. If it looks like it may be going to be a range day. So it's going to act as a trap either way here when it turns down and fails and then turns up and goes out the other side. I'd wait for this bar to close and not enter on the engulfing bar. And if we get a break above that, go with it. So that's how I would play that. We actually get 2 legs back to the EMA here. It's not a second entry because we make a new high here, so the counts don't work. But it's still, you can see there's a leg down, a move up, and another leg down. So it's 2 legs back, but no setup either way. And then we just reverse here. So I don't see anything that you can trade on the way down here. There's a second entry short on the break below those 2 there, but you can't go short right into the lows, and you see why there, because it fails and turns it back up. You wouldn't have got stopped out, but you don't want to risk it either anyway. And there's no setup there. There's none here. It's a shame. This is a really nice move down, and you just don't get any decent setups. You get your break and new low here. That's too bearish. It's too high for a higher low, and then you got a second entry short. I like taking that one on the second entry because you see you're moving up. You got to close outside, new high, and you got a new low there, first entry, and a break below that bar is second entry. And then we just start working sideways here, bouncing off this support, but you can clearly see a 1, 2, 3 triple test. This breaks lower, fails, turns up. Again, don't trade that on the engulfing bar. Wait for this to close. And if you like the setup and the signal bar, go long 1 tick above it. And there it goes. We get a close outside. We tried to make a new high multiple times and can't. But again, I don't think you want to go short in there. This is all too sideways. No shorts or longs in here. None of them are set up very well. And then we break lower. And then we move up. This is just a first entry. But notice you got a channel working up. You get a close outside, move to a new high. And you could argue there's a hidden second entry in there. Most likely, if you went to a smaller chart, you would see a second entry there. But it's off the key entry point, and you do get a close outside and a new high on this channel. So I think it's worth taking, even if you don't see the possible hidden second entry. And then we're just chopping sideways here. I don't see anything here that would make me want to go short. So and then we're into 230. So there it is. interesting day. Looked like it was going to be a strong reversal bullish day, and then out of the clear, the bottom falls out again, and we close much lower. So it looks like there's just a few minutes before the market reopens. According to my clock here, it's 4:54:33. So we got about 5 minutes before the market reopens. So I'm not going to wait on it to see if this drops off. It doesn't much matter. I mean, this thing seems to be working properly. Again, if you hadn't heard me talk about it, for all of a sudden our normal or previous NewsGuard that we were using got to where it wouldn't load the data properly. It just wouldn't load. If you waited about 5 minutes after your chart loads and you just right click on your chart and click reload NinjaScript, it would load it up. But a lot of times it wouldn't load on the open, and if you kept hitting the button, it wouldn't reload. You kept trying to get it to taking it off and putting it back. It might or might not reload, and it turns out it's not the indicator. It is the place where we get the data from, which is Forex Factory. And I guess they're limiting people to the number of times they can connect to their server in a short period of time. So I think it's 1 minute or something like that. So they'll let you ping their server maybe twice in a minute. If you do it more than that, they limit you, and then they limit your IP. I'm sure it's done by IP address, and then you can't you can't connect. They lock you out for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you can try it again, and usually it'll work. But if you keep abusing it, and they see your IP continually pinging them all day long, they can ban you, and they may ban you. So I got worried that I'd gotten banned, but when I was working on this thing, because I kept hitting it, and so finally, luckily I figured out that you can't keep pinging their server over and over, or not only will you get limited, you may get banned. And you don't want to get banned, because that's the only place I know of that you can download a file that you can get this news like this with and create these indicators. So there may be one out there. I know there's some you can pay for, but nobody, this is free. And I give away the indicator free to all our paying subscribers, so you got that too. So it's basically free for us, and I don't want, I'm sure you're like me, you don't want to pay for anything you don't have to. Trading is already expensive enough, and nobody wants to pay for something they don't have to. So anyway, I'm continuing to test this. I think it's working fine, but with all the other problems I've had the last couple of days, while I didn't have any internet for most of yesterday, I'd already bought me a new computer. There was nothing really wrong with my old computer, other than I was starting to run out of space on my hard drive, because I do save a lot of stuff. And over the last 6 months or so, I probably had to clean my hard drive off 2 or 3 times, because my computer would start bogging down and not working properly due to not having enough hard drive space. And then, of course, it won't update to Windows 11, which is not a big deal yet, but it won't be long that if you don't have Windows 11, that you're not, half your software won't run again probably. So while I was down, I'd already bought me a new computer. I just hadn't taken the time to start setting it all up, because it's a pain in the rear to have to go in and reset up NinjaTrader and set up all the stuff you use that you have to swap from one computer to another, or download and reinstall and get all your settings right again. So if you've ever been through that, you know what I'm talking about. It's a pain in the rear. Yeah, I know you can take your hard drive and have it copied and make it a little easier, but I didn't want to haul over all that junk from one computer that's still good to my new computer. And so I want to kind of start with a fresh, clean hard drive. And now I got a terabyte, and it's an SSI. I think that's what they call it, SSI. It's a digital drive. It doesn't have the moving parts. It's real quiet, real small on top of that. The thing's not much bigger than, I mean, literally, it's not much bigger than I'm trying to think of something that size. It's real small. It's maybe 6 by 6 square inches, if that, and about 2 or 3 inches thick. And so it takes up zero space hardly. And I'm real pleased with it. It's super fast, even compared to my other one, which wasn't slow, but this one's super fast. So I did that, and also I'm changing over my internet to I have AT&T fiber now, and I think the fastest I can get is 26 to 28 megs of download. And I'm going with a new provider that I can get. I'll be getting 2,000 megs of download and 1,000 megs of upload. So anyway, there it was. The market just reopened. I wasted that 5 minutes after all, and you see how it dropped off the stuff for tomorrow. Why it puts both days on there and then drops off one day later, I can't tell you, but that's the way it works. So don't get confused when it first loads up. You'll see some extra stuff at the bottom that might be for tomorrow. So and the way you can tell is look at the time, because if it's past like this, like if it was 9 o'clock when we logged on and there was red and blue stuff down here, but everything on here was black from 9 o'clock back, then you know that was tomorrow's stuff, because it's got a time prior to what it should have already been blacked out. So anyway, and I've set this up. This used to fall off after 20 minutes, everything that happened, but I've gone in and rewritten this and changed it and fixed it to where you can set it up for it doesn't fall off for 8 hours, and that gets you through the whole trading day for the most part. I think I did 8 or 10 hours, something like that. And that way it doesn't fall off. It's still on the, not that that's important to most of you if you're trading. Once it's gone and passed, you don't care much about it, but I like to have it on there for the chart lesson when I do the chart lesson. So I didn't like it falling off, because sometimes it'd be hard for me to remember what the news item was or exactly what time. And so it's helpful for me when I do the chart lesson to have it on there. So, but anyway, while I was down on the internet, I'm doing all these upgrades on both my computer, my internet. I upgraded to the newer version of NinjaTrader. So I'm 8.1 or something like that. I forget. I went from 8.0 to 8.1 or something like that. Anyway, I went in and put the. I don't think I have the latest one, but I'm to the newest version. But it may still need another update or something. But I'm not too worried about that. Sometimes I go a year or two without. I mean, I stayed with NT7 for 2 or 3 years after 8 came out and did not want to switch over. Because usually there's a lot of, there's bugs and everything else, and I'm a creature of habit, and I hate to, I spend enough time doing this already every day, and I don't want problems and errors and having to reset up stuff and relearn stuff, and it's just easier for me, unless it's some special thing that makes it better, which there's nothing better on. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing NT8 does for my trading that I couldn't do on NT7. So I could have stayed on NT7 for that matter. So, and there's still some people using it, obviously, because they still offer it. So I'm sure there's some people, probably traders like, just regular traders that are a creature of habit and they don't want to change. Just like I didn't want to change. So, but eventually, sometimes you have to give in and go ahead and change. Looks like the market's trading down some more here too. So we did go ahead and make that measured move for sure. But anyway, I've drug this out another 10 minutes. So I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap up our week. But I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.